Kisha Starks' journey was shaped by a profound loss, the kind that changes you forever. But what makes her story powerful isn't just what she endured, it's what she built in the aftermath. Her testimony is about resilience, faith, and rebuilding life with intention. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Kisha as she shares her Grace to be Great story.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me this time to share my story with you all. If I could talk about my journey in 3 words, it would be grief, grace, and purpose. I'm a mother. First and foremost, I am the founder of Café Oshei, which has become part of my purpose. And what catapulted all of this was the senseless murder of my son, Jonathan Starks. My baby, my firstborn, my first love, my drama boy, the beginning for me as a woman, I would say. Jonathan came home after a hard day at work at 7-Eleven, and a young lady, his ex-girlfriend that he had been involved with was for some time. He had finally started to get his life together. He had gave his life back to Christ, and he was cleaning everything up. And that was the last thing that he needed to release was her. And finally, it got to the point where Jonathan said, enough is enough. And he cut ties with her. And when people say that, if anybody ever tells you that can't nobody else have you, never take it for a joke. Never take it lightly. I discovered through things afterwards that more so we don't really consider men to have or to go through domestic violence, but they do. My son was tolerating a lot of stuff that I didn't know he was tolerating, and all for love. He wanted to be loved. I think we all have that story where we just want to be loved, and we'll put up with it, but we rarely hear young men talk about it. And he was going through that phase, and he had even told me, Mom, she reminds me of you. She's just been through so much, Mom. You just got to get to know her, Mom. Y'all would have a lot in common. He basically thought I could minister to her. But I saw early on that it wasn't going to work. She was very alpha female, as they say. I'm alpha female. So first of all, you're going to respect my home. And that was our thing right there. And I would talk to both of them and tell them, it's not going to work, y'all. Come back. Maybe y'all both get y'all life together separately and come back and see how things do then. And I thought it was over, but it wasn't. She still was trying to hold on. And so it all came to a head. I don't know what transpired before it, but they got into an argument at his job. And they got video, police got video of this girl literally hitting my son. This boy is 6 and some change in the back of the head. And the stuff the police was saying about him, just how these are grown men, if they were in that position, how they would have turned around and hurt that girl. But my son, he didn't. He peacefully walked away. Didn't antagonize, nothing, walked off. He walked home. She followed him to the house. He came in the house, she left. I came home because I had just went and saw him. I took him some money and came home. And I laid down and I hear banging on the door at 12-something in the morning, just banging like the police. So I get up because I ain't been to sleep probably an hour. And I get up. I'm headed to the door and I see Jonathan coming down the walkway. And he was like, I got it, Ma, I got it. Well, I'm me, you better get it. Like, Because when I finish with it, it's going to be taken care of. But I really didn't expect it to be her. I thought it was going to be the young men. I thought it was them maybe messing around, because the boys would come up and see John and talk to him because they looked at him as big brother. So he walked to the door, and I looked, and he looked at me, and he kind of squeezed his head through the door so I couldn't see who it was. And I turned around and went on about my business. And a few minutes later, he went out the door. They woke me up, probably like 1-something. My phone is going off. Somebody's banging on my door. The boy is crying. He's like, Jonathan, something happened. I don't know where Jonathan is. And I'm like, well, the neighborhood we live in, the guys be outside. They be at each other's houses. So I'm like, well, he probably just, and I'm not paying attention. He's frantic. I'm just like, they was like, he's somewhere. So I look at his phone, and I see the breezeway. So I was like, well, he right here in the neighborhood. He all right? One of the boys somebody says, no, somebody's hurt. So I started panicking a little bit. I didn't have my shoes on. I ran back upstairs and grabbed my shoes so I could see what was really going on. And when I came outside, there was no cops there. It was nothing the first time. The second time when I came back downstairs, because I sat on the bed and I just prayed. We didn't know what was going on at that point. We just knew somebody was hurt. And I sat on the couch and I prayed and I cried a little bit. And I made myself get up and go downstairs. As a parent, you just want to put that, it's nothing wrong, don't think bad, it's nothing. And I ran out the house, finally got myself together. And I'm headed towards the thing, and the lady grabbed me and she said, baby, you don't want to see him like that. He was literally across the street from my house. And the girl stopped me, and they trying to hold me back. And I just, as a mother, you want that last moment. So I'm walking back and forth, pacing. Police come just that quick. They were fast. They set up the perimeter. And I could not see him. I just wanted to see him because it was dark in that area. And so finally, I kind of eased my way around. And as a mother, I just needed to see him. I couldn't take it. I tried to drive off and ease my way around. They got detectives on the other side. So I drove out. I actually drove to my girlfriend's house because I didn't know what to do. I was in a state of shock. I was in a state of shock. And went to my girlfriend's house. I came back, and my daughter called me as I was coming back. She said, Mommy, it's him. And you don't want to see him like this. Oh, that's my baby. And I need to see him because I need to close that chapter. And I stood out there strong. And I watched them put the little things up. I saw him laying there on his side. And I knew it by the jersey. He had his 7-Eleven jersey on. I knew it was him. It confirmed it for me. And I watched them. This was my way of caring. I just had to see what they was doing with him. And then the whole thing would just get him off the ground. I watched so many movies, and I hear the parents say, just get him off the ground. He in the dirt. All those thoughts were running through my head. And finally, I literally, I watched them bag my son up and put him in the back of that truck and drive off with him. And I was so distraught. I don't even know if I slept that night. I know I had to be to work at 9, I think. I probably took a little nap. And I got up and I got dressed and I went to work. And nobody knew what happened. I told my coworker, I said, hey, Jonathan got killed last night, but I'm okay. I can work. And I didn't cry. I kept my face straight, and I got to working. 2 hours later, probably not in 2 hours, but some time later, just as I was about to break, my sister came around the corner. I'm telling you, God is on time. God be knowing. God knew. He knew how he sent her around that corner and caught me. That girl caught me. And I just fell apart. And at that point, I went, she took me home. And she loved on me, talked to me a little bit. When you're going through that, it's not too much. You just gotta grieve. You gotta get it out. My best friend came over, and that she was there for me for almost a month with me. Just there, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, sleeping. That girl laid in bed with me and made sure I went to sleep. And sometimes she slept longer than I did. But just to have her there, her and my sister, and as I'm going through the grieving process, y'all, my kids had to go through this. Like, having to hear people call me and say, your daughter out here laid on the ground in this blood. His blood was still out there. Your daughter out there. I found myself out there one morning. I couldn't do nothing but pray. I needed God to give me peace. I begged him, Lord, I need peace in this situation. I can't function like this. And it was weird, but I stuck my hand in the blood. And somebody said there's something about DNA. And I say that to say because when I stuck my hand in that blood, I got peace. It was weird, but I got peace. And I was telling my friend, and she was the one, she was like, DNA, you got to think about Christ's blood. And, it's something in that DNA. That God was giving you peace through that blood. It's significant for God's blood. He was saved. So I was like, okay, all right, I'll take that. And we did the memorial. And I think the hardest part after that was, for me, viewing the body, because it made it real. This was the first time I was going to get to see him up close and personal. And, man, God kept me through that. I can't take nothing away from God in this situation, because I've seen movies, and I couldn't if it was me, I couldn't do that. I would do this, I would do that. But I just talked to the body as it was laying there, and he looked good. And I just thank God, because the main thing is that he was saved when he passed. And I didn't receive that then. The young man was telling me, Mom, he was saved. He was saved, Mom, you ain't got nothing to worry about. And they were saying it, but it won't. I had so much going on, it didn't click. I just knew I was talking to God, and I was like, God, I need a sign, because I'm sensitive. So it's been people that passed that I felt like I've dealt with them. I felt their spirit around, or however you want to call it. It was a peace or whatever I got from their passing. It was always something. And with him, it was nothing. And it bothered me so bad. And I was like, well, Lord, did he go to heaven? That was my concern. I was like, well, was he really saved? Like, what? And that thing ate at me. It's so many things that were going on that God, when I say he kept my mind, because these are the things you think about when something like that happens, when they're taken away like that. And recently, God brought all that to my mind, because since I knew I was going to do this, for some reason I was grieving. I was re-grieving, still grieving, going through the motion, little things. I passed by his job and remember driving him to work and him smiling and Mom this and Mom that, and little things like that. And on my way from a funeral, the Lord brought it back to my remembrance of the boys telling me, Ma, he was good and saved. Ma, he brought me to church. Ma, he brought the word to me. We had Bible study with just us. And that's what I needed. At that time, I didn't realize I needed it, but I needed it. So I know now. I heard it then, but I know beyond knowing now that he's saved. So through grief, I learned compassion, a lot of compassion. Even with going through what I went through, it was so funny because a lot of people would be like, girl, you inspiring me right now. And I'm like, how? Like, what am I doing? But God gave me words. And I was always a person to say, yes, Lord, no matter what. Yes, Lord. My answer is yes. Yes. And it was my pastor that passed away, Bishop Nicholson, I was talking to him and First Lady, and it was so awesome to see him, and he was like, he was so proud of me for how I'm shining through, the resilience of what I'm going through. And that meant a lot. And Mother Nicholson at the end, she said, baby, you call it encourage us, because I had called to encourage them. And I called to talk to Pastor, and she was like, you have encouraged me in what you're going through to stand and still talk about God the way you're talking about God. Because at one point I did say, well, Lord, why you take him? Why you take my baby? We had been battling. I had a bad marriage that ended in an ugly divorce. And during that marriage, me and Jonathan had kind of a strained relationship, really bad, really bad. We had just gotten to the point of reconciling our relationship. We had made apologies to each other. We hugged it up. We loved each other. We'd be sitting on the back porch talking. So I saw a future. This is old. And so that hurt when he was gone, because I'm like, Lord, I saw his future. How could you take him like this? But God's will be done. I can say that it helped me with this. I went through with this situation. It helped me through the things that I was actually going through already. I went into a bad depression. I was smoking and drinking. I'm talking about the habit was so bad. I would come from work, go straight to Wawa's, grab me a Four Loko and a pack of Newports. And I went from sitting outside on the back porch to sitting in my car from 5 o'clock to 12 o'clock, smoking and drinking, smoking back to back, smoking and drinking, smoking and drinking. And at some point, this went on for a year and a half. And I said, Lord, some got to give. Some got to give, Lord. And slowly I said in my head, okay, well, I'll just do this. I'll smoke 2 cigarettes. I'll smoke 3 cigarettes. All right. Then it went from 3 back to 10. And I was like, all right, I'm going to try it again. I'm going to smoke 2. And I just was like, Lord, you got to help me. I can't do it by myself, because I couldn't. I had tried many times before. This time I couldn't do it by myself. And I said, Lord, what you had me do? And I got the unction, you need to get in your word. Well, I grew up in the church. You should know that. You should know better. Get in your word. So I got in my word, and I'm pulling scriptures. They're not doing nothing for me. I was like, Lord, I'm reading, but that's all I'm doing. I'm not getting anything that apply to me. I need your help. So I work at Kroger, and I'm walking, and I walk around the corner, and there's a meditation, 365 meditation book. I was like, okay. So I grabbed the book. Behind it is a prayer journal. I said, all right, Lord. I invested, grabbed them both, and I started every day, every morning, praying, doing my prayer journal for the week and my daily meditations. And I just listened to God. And eventually it became, baby, you got to change your direction. You got to change it. And I'm like, Lord, I tried. I done tried this. God said, no, totally changing. You got to turn around. You can't just turn right here. You need to turn with it to your back. And I made that turn, and I have been alcohol and cigarette free for 6 months. Yes, I'm so thankful to God. Through grieving, I learned that we have to allow it to happen. We can't fight grief, because whether you do it today, 2 months from now, 6, it's gonna come. You gotta go through the process. You gotta cry. You gotta scream. You gotta talk it out. That's the main thing. It's not overnight. It takes time. And I thank God for the people that he put in my life. I mean, he had them lined up. Okay, this like it was like he said, all right, this sister she just gonna be your prayer partner. This gonna be your prayer warriors right here. This one right here, I'm gonna have her call you. She gonna talk to you, Miss Danielle. Purpose. Kisha, what's going on? How you doing? You good? And I'll be like, well, Danielle, I feel like this. Oh, that's this process. This part of the grieving process. This level 2. All right, well, this what you do. I said, okay, yes, ma'am. Hang up. We say a prayer, hang up. A month later, Kisha, how you doing? I'm good. You feeling like this, that, and that? Yes, ma'am. This level 5. All right. So, okay, it was like she timed it. Well, God timed it. And she was like, all right, so next is this process. This was going to happen next. And this is what you need to get through with Kisha. I said, all right, Danielle. Wrote it down. And sure enough, like she said, here it come. And with the tools she gave me, the word and telling me to stay in prayer, that helped me get through. Working in my job, I have a lot of young people that come in. I'm a Starbucks barista. Well, I was. And so I had a lot of young girls come in that work with me. And I always say I attract the bad ones. And so the ones that don't want to listen, the ones that want to be headstrong. So I would get those, and I get those babies under my wings and talk to them about life and kind of push them through. Whatever he gave me, I gave to them. And it's a blessing to see so many of them have developed. Well, in doing that, I built community. Even with my customers, they would come in and we'll talk, and some of them be like, I heard this happened with you, but I would have never guessed. Like the way you carry yourself, the way you talk, girl, I wouldn't have been no good. I don't understand how you still here. And they were blessed from other people telling them my story. And in turn, they would hear part of my story. You know, I tell them what I could or the door was open for me to tell them. Or they'll come and tell me their story. They'll share with me what they've been through, their loss, how they got through. And that community is what kept me holding on. Even when you go through that, when you lose a child, it's almost like you lose a piece of you. It's like, you got them 8 slices of pie. Well, when a piece of pie is gone. You see the tin can right there. It's empty. There's nothing there. And it's not the same. The pie ain't the same. And not that you don't want it, but it just don't look the same. So that's how I felt. I felt like a piece of me literally was gone. Like the hurt was immense. And I couldn't really explain it. But when I say God, literally I felt like God put me in a cave and kept me, comforted me, watched over me. People were feeding me the word. It was times that my mothers that are not of my church, but I consider them my mothers, that God has blessed me with, would call me. Same as Danielle. Baby, I was calling to check on you. I had them calling. There was a time where I really felt like giving up. Listen, I had 6 kids, total 5 now. And that one loss, maybe not that I didn't care. I didn't care about nothing. Yes, I didn't care. I wanted to be with my son. Like, I want for everything within me, just wanted to be with him. I couldn't see nothing else. You would have thought I lost the whole tribe. Grief would do that to you. And it's very important to be surrounded by people that love you, that can help you, that can pull you down. My friend Kisha pulled me down many times. Pulled me down. Danielle pulled me down. My sister Candace pulled me down. God blessed me with an awesome tribe. And I don't want any of them to ever think that a simple call, oh, I only called you once, all that, everything, God put in order and blessed me with. I learned how to memorialize my son in a non-toxic way, where I could love him. And out of all this, I birthed Café Oshei. And Café Oshei is built on connection with the community, compassion. I have a thing for people. When I'm around them, I can pick up things. You know, I don't know how far to take it. But God has given me a gift, and I love serving people. And more so now than ever, I have a heart for it. And so I have strived to build Café Oshei. We are in the makings of, I've done my business plan and got the little things done. We're in the funding segment of it, of getting my trailer, because I gotta get out in the community and reach people. I gotta get out here and get these babies and the loved ones that have lost loved ones that need love. I thank God for the community who have kept me in prayer. And I just need y'all to know that, listen, no matter what, trust God. Trust God. If you know how they say, I'm hanging on by a thread, hang on. They used to tell me all the time, baby, hang on. And had I not hung on, I wouldn't have made it through this. Had I not hung on all this time till I got to this point. But now, look at God. Look at God. So I encourage y'all to be encouraged. And I am Kisha with Grace to be Great.
Grace to be great. Grace to be clothed in my skin and my name. Walking in truth. Every scar, every flaw, you still choose.
If you have a story, the world is waiting. Contact us at Grace2BGreat.org.
Unapologetically, this is my truth. Grace to be great.